Isaac and Claire were not ordinary travelers. They were young conservationists, bound by love and their shared passion for the wild. Years ago, they fell in love in Zambia's Luangwa National Park, where they studied nature and wrote their thesis. Back then, the sounds of lions roaring in the distance and the sight of elephants grazing at sunset filled their hearts. The rangers became their friends. The forest became their classroom, and Zambia their second home. Now, life had taken a beautiful turn. They had a son, Noah, only a few months old, and for their first summer as parents, they decided to return to Luangwa. It wasn't just a trip. It was a pilgrimage back to the land where their hearts had once bloomed. After nearly 2 days of travel, they arrived, tired, dusty, but smiling. Waiting at the gate was someone very familiar. "Miriam!" Claire shouted, waving with one hand while carrying Noah with the other. The kind-hearted ranger from their past ran to them with open arms. She hugged Claire tightly, shook Isaac's hand, and leaned down to admire the sleeping bundle wrapped in a white towel. "This is Noah," Claire whispered with pride. Miriam's eyes softened. "He's beautiful," she said, brushing a finger gently across the baby's cheek. They were led to a wooden cabin nestled in the trees. It smelled like old memories of warmth, tea leaves, and distant rain. That night, the family dined with the rangers, laughter echoing under the moonlight. The next morning, the family joined a ranger named Mulenga for a guided drive through the grasslands. Claire cradled baby Noah while Isaac held his camera, eager to capture the wilderness they had missed so dearly. Mulenga drove slowly, pointing out birds, buffaloes, and distant giraffes with practiced calm. Golden sunlight blanketed the earth. Suddenly, a majestic herd of elephants appeared, peaceful, slow-moving, their shadows dancing across the plains. Baby elephants tumbled playfully under their mother's legs. It was the kind of sight that brought tears to the eyes. Mulenga stopped the vehicle at a safe distance. Everyone fell silent, marveling at the beauty. Even baby Noah stirred slightly, as if sensing something grand, but nature is not always gentle. From within the herd, a male elephant suddenly trumpeted, a loud, piercing warning. "He's agitated," Mulenga said, reversing slowly. But the elephant didn't wait. It charged. Its ears flared. Its trunk swung like a whip. Its massive feet thundered across the dry earth, heading straight for them. Claire gasped and clutched Noah tightly to her chest. Isaac yelled, "Faster, Mulenga! Go!" But there was no time. With a deafening crash, the elephant slammed into the vehicle. Metal screamed. The car flipped onto its side. Dust filled the air. The impact threw everyone from the vehicle. Claire hit the ground hard, her arms still wrapped around Noah. Isaac rolled several feet, his camera shattered beside him. Mulenga lay motionless under the shadow of the broken car. Only one sound rose above the silence. Noah's cry, high-pitched, helpless, heartbreaking. The baby was alive, but alone, tiny against the vast wilderness. Claire's body twitched. She was unconscious, but her arms were still wrapped tightly around her baby. Blood trickled down Isaac's forehead. Mulenga groaned softly, but didn't move. The sun beat down. The birds stopped chirping, and the land stood still. A few hundred meters away, 2 cheetahs had been stalking antelopes, but something interrupted their hunt. A cry. They paused, tilted their heads, listened again. Then, without hesitation, they turned and began to walk toward the sound. Their paws made no noise. Their eyes scanned the landscape, wary yet curious. The wind carried Noah's cries like a beacon. As they neared the overturned vehicle, the first cheetah stepped forward. It sniffed the crying baby. Its breath was warm, its nose gentle. Then it lay down beside Noah. The baby cried softly now, as if the nearness of life, even wildlife, calmed him. The second cheetah circled the bodies on the ground. Not once did it snarl or show aggression. Its movements were slow, almost protective. They were predators, yes. But in that moment, they were something else entirely. The first cheetah licked Noah's tiny hand. It then turned slightly, blocking the harsh sun from reaching the baby's face. Noah whimpered and then quieted. Time passed like a whisper. The wind rustled the grass, and the 2 cheetahs stood guard, silent, still, and strange protectors of the innocent. Suddenly, the white-spotted cheetah stood up. It sniffed the air, looked once at Noah, then sprinted into the tall grass. Its mission was clear. It ran faster than any man, dodging trees, leaping over roots. Its paws barely touched the earth. And then, headlights. Patrol vehicle. 4 rangers inside. One of them pointed and shouted, "It's the leopard with the white spot on its back! Mulenga saved that one!" The cheetah paused, looked back at them, then turned and ran again, urging them to follow. The rangers didn't hesitate. They turned the vehicle around and followed the cheetah through the tall, waving grass. Branches whipped at the windows. Dust rose behind the wheels, but they didn't stop. The cheetah ran ahead, pausing now and then to make sure they were following. Then it would sprint again, urgent, determined, wild yet focused. Inside the Jeep, Miriam clutched her radio and prayed. She knew something was wrong. No cheetah runs like this without a reason, and she remembered the white spot. Years ago, Mulenga had rescued this very cheetah when it was a cub. Now the animal had returned the favor. When they reached the clearing, silence met them. The Jeep screeched to a halt. Miriam jumped out, eyes scanning the wreckage. Then, she saw her, Claire, still lying motionless on the ground, Isaac groaning, barely moving, and the baby. In the grass, cradled beside a cheetah. For a second, no one moved. The cheetah looked at them. Not aggressive, calm, watchful. It stood up slowly and backed away, reluctantly, into the bush. Miriam rushed forward, tears already in her eyes. She knelt beside baby Noah, her hands trembling. He looked up at her and smiled. "Call the medical team now!" One ranger shouted into the radio. 2 others rushed to Isaac and Claire. They checked pulses, stabilized necks, secured the scene. Miriam picked up baby Noah, clutching him to her chest. The child was unharmed, miraculously. His blanket was torn, but he had no injuries. The cheetahs had protected him like one of their own. The air felt heavy with emotion. Nature had caused the accident, but nature had also saved a life. Within 15 minutes, an airlift arrived. Medics strapped Isaac and Claire onto stretchers. Noah stayed wrapped in Miriam's arms the entire time. They were flown to Lusaka, the capital city. Claire had a concussion and fractured ribs. Isaac had a dislocated shoulder and deep bruises. Mulenga, the brave ranger, had 2 cracked ribs and a limp, but was awake and smiling. Doctors were amazed Noah had survived. "Not a scratch," one of them whispered. "It's almost impossible." But the story had only just begun. When Claire woke up, her first words were, "Is Noah okay?" Miriam placed the baby in her arms. Claire burst into tears. She held him so tightly the nurses had to gently remind her to breathe.